Chapstick in here.
Yeah, yep. Get yourself together.
Yeah, give
And
me a
if you kind
second.
of like need to,
These lips a little dry.
if you need to like sneeze or anything, if you need to like sneeze or anything, oh, okay. If you need to like sneeze or anything like that, don't worry about it. I just kind of we'll have the camera off of you once I start doing the editing.
What's good, fam? And welcome to JustDrawz. This is a show hosted by two black gay men who are smart, sometimes funny, and not afraid to say the quiet parts out loud.
We talk life, love, sex, culture, mental health, politics, pop culture,
and everything in between. So whether you're here to laugh, learn, heal, or just feel seen,
you're in the right place. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to JustDrawz, the space where real conversations live.
And performative nonsense does not. We keep it raw, vulnerable, and stripped down.
That's right, RVSD. I'm your host, Jeff, and you can find me at Jeff Levels Up on Instagram and Twitter, or if you want to call it that, X.
And I'm your host, Darius, aka DMC. You know your boy, and you can find me at Closed Minded on Instagram and DM Curitan on Twitter, or as Jeff said, X.
All right. So, tonight we are coming from Folsom Street.
Here we go. It's too wild. It's too wild out here. It's too wild.
We're coming from Folsom Street. That's all. That's a no extra super crazy place tonight.
Are you sure? That is absolutely crazy and super and all of those things.
I mean, it depends. It depends.
It depends on what?
On your freak number.
Man, whatever. It's crazy. It's crazy as fuck is what it is. All right. Don't let him fool you on that.
No, it's not crazy. All right, everybody. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about something that a lot of us enjoy, whether we want to admit to it or not. And it's watching other people have sex. We're going to have a conversation about what that life is like from the perspective of an adult content creator. So I'm hoping we'll have a conversation that will be full of surprises and hopefully clear up some misconceptions people may have about people in that industry. All right, so tonight we've got two guests. This is the first time we've had two guests on the show.
Yeah. Other than when we've had co-hosts, but the first time we've had two guests. Yeah, so.
Yes. All right. So tonight we've got Daniel and Corday. Welcome, fellas, to JustDrawz.
What's up?
Yeah, thank y'all for being here.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we appreciate you. Okay, so before we get into tonight's conversation, could you guys introduce yourselves and give us your social media handles and tell us a little bit about yourselves?
You want to go first, or
You want me to go first?
it don't matter to me?
It's totally up to you.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Daniel.
Right. So my name's Daniel. I can be found on Twitter at DeeBearDaG, or X, if you want to call it that. Going to follow the trend. But I'm a nerd, video gamer, content creator, and I'd spend most of my free time in the gym. Outside of that, I'm a pretty chill dude.
All right, Corday.
What's up, y'all? I am Corday Omari, but most of the people that follow me knows me as DaddiDecent, the content creator. I'm just coming from the gym, so I love to work out too. You can find me on social media. You can find me on Instagram at JustCorday. You can find me on TikTok. I am learning TikTok, so bear with me. That's also Just Corday. And if you are nasty, you can find me over on X. And it's DaddiDecent Daddy with an I. But if you want to spend a little coin, you can find me on OnlyFans, and that's Decent Daddy. Still Daddy with an I.
All right.
They're absolutely nasty. That's why they're here.
All right. Okay. So, my first question is, so, most of us will take a nude or we'll take a selfie and we'll send that out. So, and I'm thinking that before you got into this industry, you probably started off with just sending news and things like that. So, what was like the jump from, say, posting nudes online on like a Twitter or a Tumblr? Or was that your journey, or did you just kind of like hop right into making content?
Okay, so how I got into doing content, and I'm gonna try to make it as short as possible. So I was married before, and me and my ex-husband, we had just split. And of course, I was getting back into the dating world, and everybody's nasty. Everybody wanted to see what it looked like before it get to them. So they was asking for dick pics and ass pics and all types of shit. So I was like, if I'm gonna be sending out free pictures of what I got, I might as well monetize and make a little money off of it. So in January of 2021, I created my Twitter and my OnlyFans page. I started posting like solo content, just playing with myself a little bit, nude pictures, and I just started getting a big following from that. And next thing I know, I had people reaching out to me to do collabs. So the switch from just sending one or two pics to like somebody that want to fuck versus the world, it was kind of quick.
Yeah, for me, I was kind of thrown into it by accident. My first
Okay.
boyfriend, yeah, my
Mm,
first boyfriend came home from work.
Accidentally on purpose.
Yeah,
hmm.
you know, and I was actually in the middle of playing the game at the time, and he came in from work and he was just like, "I'm gonna give you head right now," and I was like, "All right, go for it." And I remember I was in the middle of playing Destiny, and he stopped and he stepped back and he took a picture of me and told me he was going to post it on Tumblr. This might have been maybe 3 or 4 months before Tumblr like stopped all the kind of like nudity and whatnot. And I didn't really think much of it. I was like, I'm just some regular guy. Ain't nobody gonna care about it. And 2 days later, I came back to the picture on his page, and it had like over 4,000 likes on it or something like that. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
okay, you know. And then from there, I didn't really do too much with it because like Tumblr has shut down. And then I got
Yeah.
into my third relationship, and he was already a content creator. So when he started, I was like, he's already doing it. I'm already in some of his videos. I might as well just go ahead and make my own page. And it kind of just blew up from there. I was like, I'm out here now. Y'all can't stop me.
Okay.
hmm
Can't put the toothpaste back into the into the tube, they say.
I mean, you could try, but I mean, good
Your
luck.
story
It's
is
out of
way
the
more
bottle.
interesting than mine.
That's interesting, because you said that you were married. Because I was thinking, well, let me see where this is going. Because you got to
Mhm.
ask if the dudes are, were you married to a woman or were you married to a dude first? So,
All
yeah,
of my husbands have been men. And
okay,
when I
Okay,
say all of them,
right.
I've only been married twice. So I'm in my third marriage right now. And
So
okay.
you
this is
haven't
my
had any
last marriage.
female husbands. You haven't had any female husbands yet.
All of his
That
spouses
part.
have been men.
Got it. Got it. Hmm.
Okay, that's interesting. So you just kind of was like, all right, so I'm doing this, Daniel. I'm just gonna go up in here and I'm just gonna make it do what it do. And
Yeah.
Corday, you was like, I'm gonna capitalize on this popularity. I'm about to get this
Well,
money.
Daniel's boyfriend was like, "I'm gonna make it do what it do." It
Mm.
wasn't necessarily him.
Well, after the fact, after he posted it, is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. What I'm saying.
After
But he
that,
kind
I
of just
took
like
up and
fell
yeah.
into it.
Look, if
Okay.
I'm going to be out there, I got to make sure I
That
have
So,
the
makes
right.
sense.
so do you remember what it was like when you recorded your first scene, or do you remember like, say, an intentional um, script or something like that, or was it just kind of like we just gonna put the camera up one day and we just gonna do something and just post it and see what happens, or did it be like, okay, I'm gonna try to make this skit or something? What was like the journey for your first intentional scene?
My first intentional scene, I don't really count the ones that I did with my boyfriend in the beginning because it was just like us just doing our own thing, playing around. But our first intentional scene is also the one that kind of like put me on the map. And it was this collab with
Okay.
me, my ex, Dre the Cyborg at the time, Young Dad, and Mr. Moop Up, I think is how you say his his handle, and we all kind of
Okay.
did this really big scene. Young Dad had over like 100,000 followers at the time. I was still at like 7 or 8. I was like a nobody. But we all did this one scene at this hotel, and he was directing everything. He was telling us what angles to record from. I learned a lot from that session, actually, as far as like lighting, camera
Okay.
angles, making sure you're properly lubricated, like your whole body. You don't want to be out here recording and be ashy, but you don't want to have so much lotion or oil on that you're reflective. And it's like, I learned a lot of
I mean,
stuff.
people don't like that. There's not a fetish for that, for ash.
Well, look, I would
I
not
don't
on
think
my
any,
page. There
I don't think anybody
isn't.
dislikes Ash.
Okay.
Well, I'll be
Listen,
the
I
first
don't
one to make
know,
a post that says "Stop posting ashy dick pics." But yeah, that
Oh
was
my
probably
goodness.
my very first really big scene and like important one that kind of shaped how I turned out as a content creator.
So my very first collaborative scene was with Mike and Monty. Rest Mike's soul in peace. But they were more sort of my mentors when I first started. I already had built rapport with them, so I really wasn't nervous to do it. And I already had an attraction to both of them, so it was easy to do it on camera. I don't really have no big elaborate story. It was just wham bam. We didn't got the scene. Let's put it out.
So I'm gonna start with Corday on this one. How long did it take before you felt like Daddy had a decent following?
I mean, do I
Like,
really have a decent following? I mean, I feel like I
come
still.
on, dude, come on.
I don't know because I'm not a numbers type of guy. I really don't. I
Okay,
don't pay attention to the following. I don't pay attention to like somebody asked me earlier. They were like, "Oh, do you want to post this right now?" Because I don't know how your algorithm is. I don't give a fuck about none of that stuff. I just post when I want to post. I don't care about who following or not following. I just don't keep up with that.
hmm, okay,
That's not important to me because
okay.
it's
Do
not.
you know how many how much of a following you have right now though?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
so
I see it every time I log into my Twitter.
how long did it take before you started to notice? Oh wow, like these numbers are up here.
Um. So I think honestly, I would probably say when I hit like maybe 30, 40,000
Okay.
people following me, that's when I say, oh, okay. People may be paying attention a little bit. And now I'm
Mm-hmm.
at like, I think 200 and some thousand people
See, yeah.
following.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So like,
that's
yeah.
significant.
Okay, very good. Daniel, how long did it take for you?
Uh, Pretty much maybe about a year or so into doing it. It really just kind of started with me chasing my ex's numbers. And then one day I woke up and I was like, wait a minute, I've already gotten into the double digits. Like, I think by the time I
Okay.
noticed, I probably was around 25,000.
So what did
Okay.
you said you were chasing your ex's numbers? What did that look like? What do you mean chasing his numbers? Like how were you chasing them? Let me ask that.
I guess when I had to kind of like get to this point where I was making like solo content, like jack off videos or toy videos and stuff like that, I kind of got to this point where it's like I had to make my own brand, I guess. When I started, like I told you, I know I had less than 10,000 followers at the time, and he was already like in the 20s, pushing like 30,000. I think at the time he had only been doing it for about a year. So I was just trying to see how fast I could close the gap. Try to use my dark skin magic.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Melanin magic. I'm gonna use that.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you kind of made it like like a friendly competition.
Yeah.
When y'all were together, then
Mhm.
I'm sure it was like a friendly competition between the two, but nothing like, serious. Like, I'm trying to
Yeah.
get this same numbers you got type of deal. I'm going to overtake you.
Little,
It wasn't like that, I'm sure.
right. Little
Okay.
Like
relationship
it didn't
rivalry.
become obsessive.
No, no.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
actually stopped
Yeah.
for
Cool.
maybe a year or so, and then I jumped back into it. I just fell off. It felt like it was too much work trying to find people to do collabs with. And then when I came back to it, I was like, well, let me just start with solo content and see what happens. If people like it, they'll come to me.
Okay. Now
That
there
makes
was
sense.
an amen over in that corner. Do you
Mhm.
Hmm.
can you relate to that, Corday?
Sometimes working with some of the people in the industry, they can be real flaky. Some
Okay.
people can be very messy. Some people
Okay.
are very unorganized. Some people just don't have a business mindset, so it can be real difficult finding good scene partners. I didn't take a year off, but I do take months off at a time. Like I'll put a lot of content out and I'll just kind of just disappear. And then
Okay.
I'll come back and I'll put some more out and I'll disappear again. They're like,
Mm. Okay. All right. Give them like some breadcrumbs or something like that to keep them wanting more. Just be like, all right, I'm about go on break. I'm gonna go on a
mhm,
hiatus, but I'm
No,
just coming back and be
you lay
like,
the
bam.
Thanksgiving yeah, you lay the Thanksgiving spread out, and then they
mhm.
can just kind of keep coming back to it as they want to, like leftovers. And then when they're out of food, then you're like, "Oh, y'all out of food.
Now
Okay.
it's time to feed the people again.
Yeah, let's
Mhm.
feed the people again."
But like
Yeah.
no, but so like when I record, I'm very intentional about the amount of content that I do because if I do want to take a couple of months off and I still want to put like produce new content, it's already stuff that's filmed. I'll release it little by little, little by little, little by little, and it's enough to hold me over till I feel like I want to deal with people again. If that makes
Yeah.
Mhm.
sense.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting because that as when we make this podcast, like we have episodes in the can. So,
Mm.
as
Hmm.
this is going to be airing, it's part of our season 4. We already have episodes in the can, even though we haven't even started airing season 4 as this is recording. So we kind of have it stacked as well because you can't just like churn out stuff over and over again. At least we're not at that
Mhm.
stage where we're trying to like churn out something every week, and that
Hmm.
can be it's a lot of labor.
It's a
Because
time
Um,
consuming.
we have lives, and
Exactly.
we don't want to
yeah.
sit here and do this. I mean, we enjoy doing it, but yeah, we don't want to sit here and do this like every single day as our job until maybe, it starts to pay us like we need to. And then it's like, oh, okay, yes, I will sit here and do
But yeah,
this every single day.
but I mean,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
it's smart. It's smart to stockpile whatever type of content that you're doing, so that way it gives you time to actually like go back in and do edits. You can
Right.
find if
Right.
something looks a little off, you can fix it before it comes out. But
Hmm.
it's always good to stockpile your content. That way you're not always in a rush to put stuff out.
Yes. Yes. We learned that
Yes,
just doing this
Absolutely.
in our little fledgling lineup. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely
Mm-hmm.
is a good thing to do. Is like to have a little stockpile of things that you can kind of release.
hmm
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of like labor, because that just sparked a question for me because you mentioned, once you get tired of dealing with people, or it can be difficult finding um, collaborators that you want to even work with that,
hmm
like you said, a business mind and be like, hey, let's shoot this scene. You got people that's just kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna, la 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 la, whatever, we'll do it at whatever time. You got people that may be
hmm
unreliable. But in addition to that, I would think that you would also want to have, um, you know, it's a toll because this is a physical action that you're doing too on your
hmm
Mm.
body. And then two, you want to have chemistry with those people because I would imagine, there may be so much you can do to kind of like fake the funk with
hmm
someone if you're not really into them. But at the same time, like with me, just if when I'm having sex with people, and if I'm not really into them, I have a very difficult time to kind of like get over it. Like I can take myself out and separate myself from the action of having sex with them, and then just kind of be like, all right, I'm just kind of like going through the motions. But I kind of do feel like person may, feel that.
Get
hmm
vulnerable, Jeff. Get vulnerable. Go for
Yeah.
it.
So, I wonder, what as far as like having dealing with people that may be unreliable, like how does that kind of go with your creating the content? Like how does that affect you when you deal with people and you find out, okay, well, this guy, I've worked with him before, or I've working with him for the first time and he just kind of like flaked out on me.
So I will say this, and my husband gets on me all the time because he thinks that sometimes I don't offer enough grace to people. But for me, if I have to switch things around in my busy schedule that's already like packed to make time for you, and you can't communicate that you're going to be late, or you can't communicate that you need to reschedule, or you just totally ghost me, then you come around months later to want to work with me, I will never work with you again. I don't care how big your name is. I don't care how many followers you got. I don't care about none of that. I will never work with you again. It'll be a
One and
hell no
done.
for me.
Hear that. And I
Mm.
don't understand why other people don't understand that. If we're adults, and I don't understand how communication is so lacking when it comes to stuff like that. Because, I mean, while this is pleasure for a lot of people, it's a business at the end of the
Exactly.
day. And it's so wild that simple courtesies like, okay, hey, I'm running late, or hey, I'm not going to be able to do this because of this, or
Mm-hmm.
something came up. Can we reschedule? And the other thing that's always interesting to me is how people don't understand when they're the cause of why something didn't happen, that they're the ones that should be coming up with the contingency for when you're
Mm-hmm.
going to reschedule all of that. It's like, okay, hey, I can't do it today, but when are you free? Or are you free at this time? Or are you free at that time? Like, there should be some sort of effort there. So I completely get that. Sorry, I didn't mean
Exactly.
to cut you off, Daniel.
No, no, you're fine. I've definitely dealt with that a lot myself too. At this point, I am so, I guess, numb to people flaking that I've gotten to this point where it's like I will schedule 3 or 4 people at the same time because I'm expecting 3 of y'all to already piss me off. So I
Okay.
don't even wait around for there to be an issue. It's just like, yo, I'm trying to get some content done because much like Corday, I believe in putting out or making a lot of content at once, and then I'll push it all out slowly over time. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
probably go. I'll sit back and wait and like just let all my sexual energy build up for like a month. And then for a week, I'm just out there making content. And then it's just like, I'll let that content just slowly roll out over time and just be back home chilling, focusing on me. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
time.
you letting content and a lot of other stuff
Yeah.
slowly leak out over time.
Mhm. Yes. So that's
All of
kind of
your internal content. Yeah.
yeah, that
Mm. I like that.
it makes it all a lot easier for me in the long run.
Okay. So Daniel likes to lay it low and spread it wide. I get it. Got it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well,
Mm-mm.
not
Good
really.
time with
Yeah.
me.
Not really.
The fun thing about
Okay.
being versus, there's
So,
always somebody.
well, that is true.
Look,
Hmm.
can I ask Daniel a question real quick?
Sure.
So, have you ever run into an issue to like where you're scheduled to bottom for a scene, and you're totally in the mindset at the
Hmm.
bottom, but your top sees your dick, and now your top wants you to top them in the scene?
Yes. Oh man, that's happened a few times. And it's like I'm sitting there ready
When
to
I tell
go, oiled
you
up in my jock strap, and it's like, wait, what's
exactly, I'm
happening
like, sir,
now?
my legs are up in the air right now. What do you mean you want dick?
So how do y'all handle that when those situations arise?
I switch. I just automatically switch from being a bottom to a top.
Okay.
All right. I
Fortunately,
mean, you got
most
to
of the people
look.
that I make my
You do what you
content
got to do.
with, most of the people I make my content with, they are also verse. So if I have to give
Mm-hmm.
some dick out first, I'm still gonna get some later.
Okay.
um,
So you don't go
so
and slam your hand on the table and go, not on my watch, not today, and then
not in,
make
not
them make
anymore.
them do what you said you were gonna do. Oh, okay, got you. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to be like
There's
that, but
always a
now I have a
workaround.
group of maybe like 4 or 5 people that I regularly make content with. And we're friends outside of the content. So it's like the energy is always kind of like genuine. I don't have to, kind of like fake the funk or figure out if I actually want to be here or not. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there have been times I've made content with people and we'll do like a big, like, orgy scene and then go out to eat at an all you can eat sushi place afterwards and just be laughing about it. So it's like
Hmm.
I love that.
we get along
I
pretty
mean, y'all done
well.
worked up an appetite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
Yeah.
that brought up a question for me, Jeff. I don't know if you wanted to
No, you
jump in.
go ahead. Go ahead. Take it.
So you made a you Daniel, you were just talking about how people that you make content with are friends, or some of them are friends. You're friends with them outside of making the content, and this goes to you too, Corday. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's the dynamic between people that you have made content with, or you have pleasured or been pleasured by, and
Mm-hmm.
then to be able to look at them in that friendship kind of way?
So for me, there's literally only a handful of people that I would consider as friends that
Okay.
I've actually filmed with or did content with. Everybody else is really just business.
Okay.
Um, Good Boy ATL, Trophy Boy ATL. What's about? Oh, of course, Monty and Mike when Mike was alive. those who I would consider friends. And me and Jacoby, we have done two projects together. That's also a good friend of mine. But other than that, like I haven't like really filmed with people that I consider as friends.
Okay. Okay then.
Yeah.
And
For
Daniel,
me,
you said you
it's
film with friends. Yeah.
yeah. Most of us, for me, that's kind of like a big part of making my content come out well. I have to have like a real connection with you. And so there's never really, I guess I've always kind of been in this kind of like headspace when it comes to like having sex with people even outside of content. Um, I like to
Mhm.
get intimate. I like to know your weak points. And I like to make sure you're having a good day. And if you're having a bad one, I'm here to fix it. You know, but I gotta
Okay.
have that conversation with you and get to know you first before we get there. You know, I can't be giving everybody that energy. There's some crazy people out here in
True.
ATL.
Right. But,
Yeah.
and that kind of goes back to what I was mentioning earlier about having chemistry with people because to me, it's very important for me to enjoy it if I feel like I've got chemistry. Like when I was single and was, hooking up and all that stuff, like there were some people that I was like, you know what? That was awesome. I can't wait to get back with them again. There's other people I was just like,
Mhm.
oh, well, yeah, all right,
Thanks.
well,
Yeah.
toodles.
Thanks for the memories. Yeah.
I'm good. So I think when you have passion and you like the people that you're having sex with, we see
Mhm.
that as
Yeah.
people that are on this side of the screen watching the content. Like you can tell, like, oh, they are really into each other. So you know that content was good because if they're enjoying it, then that lets the audience enjoy it even more. It doesn't feel like, oh, well, they just fucking just for the check and then they out of there.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's
So,
good to know. So since you, Daniel, collaborate with a lot of your friends, or you have like a steady group of people that you collaborate with, outside of that, do you have or would you feel comfortable like naming names if there was like a dream person that you could collaborate with?
ooh. Um, there's probably been like two or three people I could think of who I want to do content with. Um, One of them isn't really a content creator, but he always talks about how much he's down to be in my videos. So I won't really name
Mm,
him. But the other
okay.
two, um, I think he goes by Dupree Duke now. Uh, really became popular after he started showing his face recently. But me and him have been talking for years. I've been trying to set that up for a while. And
Okay.
the other one is, I think he's on the West Coast. His account is like Bear Mutt X. Those are probably the top two people that come off the top of my head.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Corday?
I can already see the magic.
Oh, you already got it like in my mind. You can
Yeah.
already
That's
see
right.
what's going
I'll
on.
always be. Okay. You are ready.
Let's see.
Mhm.
Corday, what about you?
So for me, I get asked this question almost every podcast I do, and it's always gonna be the same answer every single time. My dream collab would be with Cutler X. I don't care what nobody say. I think Cutler is an amazing content creator, and I would love to work with him.
Awesome.
Think I've heard of, well, yeah, I've seen his channel before.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I've seen some of his stuff. I'm not sure, but okay. So again, with you all having done content for a while, I'm sure that you get really interesting, we're going to use that term, interesting requests and or messages, DMs from people. So what's been either the best or the funniest message that you've received from someone who follows you?
Um, I think the funniest and the best for me is always the ones when somebody will tell me, "Hey, I just got through jacking off to you like 2 seconds ago." I'm like, "Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm glad I can provide a service for
right.
you. Thank you."
Exactly. Thank you.
What am I
God
supposed to
bless
do with this?
and good night.
For me, it's not really a message, but it was more so like a in-person reaction. I went out. I was going out to the Eagle one night, and me and my friend, he invited one of his friends to come along with us. and we're all just laughing, talking about video games and stuff. I guess I come off as like really unassuming. Like if you see me in person, you wouldn't think I was a content creator. And I get that a lot, that people don't recognize me if I have my glasses on. So I took my glasses off to clean them in the middle while we were all like getting ready to walk out the door. And like he kind of like just grabbed his face and like turned around and went into the corner. And like I looked at my friend, I was like, "Is he okay?" And he was like, he was in the corner. He was like, "I was just jacking off to him this morning." And I was like, "Oh shit." He was like, "I don't know what to do with myself. I've been sitting here laughing with you this whole time, and I had no idea who you were." So that's probably one of the coolest moments I've had.
I think those like always the best times, like when you're actually genuinely hanging out with somebody and they don't realize who you are until then they actually realize who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's going to be
Yeah.
my next question. Like, how does it feel when you get recognized by people who have jacked off to you just a few minutes earlier?
For me, I don't feel any type of way. So like, I'm learning how to separate Daddy Decent versus Corday.
Okay.
So like, if somebody come up to me and I know they're a Daddy Decent fan, I know how to categorize it, and I can be like, okay, thank you. I can be appreciative of everything they got going on, or if they are jacking off to me or they're a fan, I can appreciate that. But when I'm in Corday mode, it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave Daddy Decent over there, and I'm gonna be me over here, if that makes sense.
Mm,
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Depending on the situation, it can be real like flattering or it can be like real annoying. Because there have been times I've been out
Mm-hmm.
with just some of my friends who aren't a part of that world at all. And, we're just talking or hanging out somewhere, more than likely Eagle, Heretic, something like that. And someone just runs up, "Oh
Hmm.
my God, I recognize you. Can I take a picture? Can I get a hug?" And it's like, my conversation has been interrupted like 5 times now, and I just want to talk about the latest episode of anime or this new video game I'm playing. And it's like, if one more person come over here trying to buy me a drink, I'm gonna throw it in their face. Like, leave me alone.
Oh, oh no,
Wow. Not a housewife moment.
no.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Like when you had those moments though, like sometimes, like when you had those moments, when I had those moments, I always catch myself like having to pull myself back, like because if I was in my Just Corday mode, Just Corday is always his first initial mindset is to go off and to snap. Because like, why are you interrupting me?
Hmm.
But now to think about it, this is a fan, so I don't want to lose a fan
Yeah.
because I'm being a bitch or being mean to them.
Right.
Like for
Right.
instance, me and my photographer, we were celebrating one of our photo shoots. And we sit at the table having dinner, and now next thing I know, this guy run up to me. "Oh my God, you Daddy Decent, you Daddy Decent." I'm like, I just want to eat my fucking food. That's it. But I had to be
Hmm.
nice. But I had to be nice about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. That
Yeah.
makes sense because
Yeah.
like it seems like people don't understand. Oh, I'm sorry, Daniel. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I
Were you
tell a
about to say
lot
something?
of people it's almost like being like a K-pop star. Like you constantly have to
Okay.
just keep smiling for them and shaking hands and giving hugs, and you kind
Mm-hmm.
of have to like stay in character. Like whenever you're in those kind of like public settings, it's like you can't be mad because they're just fanning out, and
Hmm.
I'd probably act the same way if I ran into someone popular that I was really into or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
it kind
That's
of
real.
feels like I'm just a K-pop star idol, a little K-pop idol.
Okay. So that's something that I kind of want to get into is that okay, it seems like when you're out and about and you're living as Daniel or you're living as Corday and you're separate from that online content persona,
Mm-hmm.
what is are there any other things that you feel like people will walk up to you and recognize you that they misunderstand about you as an individual? As far as like, say, for example, do you get people that kind of assume that you may be an easy person to have sex with because you're a content creator, or do they assume that you may not be smart, or like Daniel, you say that you're very unassuming, which is true, and they may not realize that he really is into anime and video games, but I know he
Mm-hmm.
had this freaky side, things like that. So, what's something that you feel like people don't understand about you as individuals?
I'm going to add to that question and ask to what Jeff was saying and ask, do you feel people have these parasocial relationships with you? Like they know who you are, they're friends
Mhm.
with you, all of that because they've subscribed to your content or they watch your content?
For me, I would say, well, anytime anybody see you doing content or seeing you having sex online, they automatically gonna think that you're easy, and that's always gonna be the first assumption. So when they approach you, it's always gonna be on that type of time. Now, for me, when I go out in public, most of the time I'm out with my husband, and my husband has a very much don't approach me type of face, so I don't really have to deal with a lot of it all the time. But in those like occasions where I do have to deal with people by myself and they approach me like that, I kind of just let them know, like, listen, that ain't who I am. That's just what I do online. It's a fantasy. I like recently I was booked to be a face of a sex party, and when the sex party was over, this guy was like, "Well, can I get your number? Can you meet me back in my hotel?" And I was like, "This was a job for me. I'm done now. I've created a fantasy for you. I've given you what you need here in this setting, and that's all I can give for you. But outside of this, I can't give you nothing else. I have a husband at home to go to."
Mm. I was married now.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
Like
I
Corday's
can.
got
that's the
a
only thing
man
for
at
me.
home.
Yeah, Corday's got a man at home.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
And yeah, I've experienced
Daniel,
some of that
your turn.
myself. When I think I recently made a Snapchat maybe like a year ago, and it's kind of just
Oh
there to
Lord.
like kind of show like the behind the scenes. And this man got on Snapchat and he was talking to me day in, day out. Everything he said was like
My
hypersexual.
God, I have the same thing.
And one day I woke up and the first message was like, I bet you about to go slang that big dick right now, ain't you? I was like, bro, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. And his reply was
And
his
yes, I
reply to
am.
that was his literal reply was like, "What the fuck you mean? You a porn star?" I was like, "No, I'm a fucking person. Like, I'm a person before
Mm.
I'm any of that shit you
Yeah.
see on the internet, and I have a life outside of helping you get a nut. Like,
Right. Sir,
I
this is
get
a
it. I
Wendy's.
feel like, right?
This
That's
is
my
not
favorite
Burger
phrase.
King.
But I get hit with that kind of energy, and then he's like, "Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to come at you like that." And then 3 hours later, he was hypersexual all over again. I just
It
had to
was the
block
same
him. I was
thing.
like,
Same
"Oh,
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah."
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy is people will do
Yeah.
that and then apologize and then come right back and do the same shit again. And that's crazy because I just told Jeff not too long ago, I was like, I didn't know that Snapchat was like emerging as the new like hookup kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. I was like, all I know is I'm getting a lot of requests on Snapchat, and then
hmm
it always turns into that. Like people are like, oh, well,
Mhm.
so and so, or can I call you, video chat with you? I have something to show you. No, you don't. No, you don't
So
have
let me
anything to
piggyback
show me.
off
I'm
of
good.
that. I'm gonna
Mm,
piggyback off what Daniel said. I feel like a lot of times people they don't look at us as human anymore when they see us doing
mm-hmm.
porn or content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We become objects, and it's just something that's easily accessible to them, or they think it's easily accessible. As far as Snapchat goes, I deleted Snapchat 2 years ago because it was so annoying. I
Mm-hmm.
got tired of people randomly calling me. I got tired of people randomly sending me dicks and asses. I'm like, I didn't ask for none of this stuff. Yes, I am a content creator. Yes, you still need to have consent to send me this shit because I don't want to see it
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
unless I ask for
Right, right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I
So
was
that
scrolling through
leaves me.
someone's page, and they were like on Snapchat, and they had it written on there. There was like, "Don't ask me why I added you. We have more than 20 mutual followers. You know what I'm about." And die.
Okay.
Oh man.
So that leads me to this question. So I know Corday, you mentioned that you have a husband, but
Yeah.
how is your sex life when the cameras are off? Like what is that? Like what is Corday having sex versus Daddy Decent having sex?
It is absolutely amazing. I just had some this morning on my way to work.
All right. Well,
Amen. Amen. Let's take up an
I'm
we
offering for
have we
that.
have a
ain't
pretty
mad at it.
we have a pretty healthy sex life. Like we do our thing together in our bedroom, and then sometimes we may want to bring somebody in with us, and sometimes we may want to hook up with somebody separately. We do. We have a really healthy sex life.
Okay. I'm all about the ethical non-monogamy.
Hmm.
Yes, he is.
Um,
Communication is key. I feel
Yes,
about that.
yes.
yes.
It is very much so.
I don't know.
All right,
For
Daniel, what
me, I
about
guess
you?
it's all like I said earlier. It's all about intimacy for me. Once I get into that bedroom, there's going to be a lot of foreplay because I got to figure you out. I gotta know what makes you tick so that I can push all of your buttons. That's the kind of person I am.
Mm.
It's like a pleaser on crack. Like I'm acting up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I
Yeah,
just
it's
want to
Definitely.
nothing like
satisfy
what you
you.
see on
Yeah,
camera.
that's it. Hey,
I
that is
mean,
what it's about right there. My
I,
job is to get you off. And
Hmm.
That's a good man, family.
right.
okay,
And if
thank
I'm
you.
lucky, we can
Okay.
do it multiple
That's I'm like, let
times.
me
We going
get
rounds.
yours. Get yours. Yeah. Yeah, get yours for real. Don't worry
The
about
only
me. Get
time I'm
yours.
the only person I'm spending that much time trying to learn and get and push their buttons is my husband. Everybody else is we gonna get a nut and we finna go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about your buttons. I care about mine right now.
I'm gonna
All
thank y'all
right.
for coming out. God bless. Good night.
Hmm.
That's it.
That's the end of our
Okay.
show tonight.
Yeah. Let us stand.
Like
May the Lord watch between
Drake
me and
said,
thee while we're absent, one from another.
like Drake said, all them
One
other
of the
niggas are
things.
practice.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah.
Practice.
Okay. One of the things that I know that I deal with is body image and this image of self. And
Mhm.
so with you being content creators, how has doing adult content really changed how you see your body and maybe how you see yourself?
So I've always been kind of conscious of my body. Like I even before I started doing content, I would nitpick and find small stuff that I think is that can be improved that I think could be better. I have a million people telling me, "Well, you look good, your body looks great, you look great," but it's just this one little small thing that I might not like. Like for instance, I have love handles sometimes, but like I'm learning how to embrace that right now. But I do think that being
Mm-hmm.
in front of the camera a lot and being naked and having people judge you, it puts a lot of pressure on your mental,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So like
Yeah.
I'm constantly always in the gym. I'm always with my trainer. Like I'm always trying to improve and do something.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Dan?
For me, it's kind of it's more so like I'm just trying not to be a hypocrite. I used, yeah, I used to definitely be one of
Okay.
those people out there like stop taking nudes on the toilet. Like I was out there just loud, and people's like, like comments like, it's 2025. Why are you still taking nudes on the toilet? Like you ain't even flushed the toilet first. Like but I don't want
Whoa.
to be
Some
out
people
But
might
I'm
there
be
sure
into
that
that
people, yeah,
jabbing
right. I was like, I'm sure people are into that.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not me. But I try and make sure that if anything, I'm out here trying to lead by example. If I'm going to take a nude or post a picture, that I've probably retaken that same picture about 15 to 20 times before I decided which one I'm putting up there.
We talked
Mm.
about that. That's me.
Yeah.
That is me. I will take
Mhm.
1,700 pictures and then go, okay, I only like 3. So I'm gonna delete all the other.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do that all the time. Jeff and I take pictures every time I come to visit. And I'd be like, okay, Jeff, let's take this one again. All
Mm.
right. Okay, now turn this way. All right, now. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna take my glasses off on this one.
Mm.
All right, and then so I'm the exact same way. And then I got to go through and edit those and then go, okay, do not post this until I have had an opportunity to approve said photo.
Right.
So, yeah,
That is true. That is
very
very
true, very
true.
true. Yeah, have you all gotten any backlash from friends or family related to your content creation?
Surprisingly, no.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
Like everybody's been supportive. Like I thought I was gonna get like maybe a little pushback when I told my parents that I was doing it, but it was like, okay, just be safe. Don't do nothing crazy. Don't get hurt. Don't
Okay.
catch nothing that you can't get rid of. That's it.
Like kids.
All right.
so
I'm not ready for no kids. I want
Because
kids one day, but not right now.
yeah, you cannot
Can
get rid of
barely
them.
afford myself, let alone a kid.
Somebody looking like me, looking me in my face.
Right.
Hell no.
Asking me
I
for
have
money and
right. I have
food.
enough nieces and nephews, and I'm usually like, if I'm hanging with them, I'm like, okay, now when is your mama coming to get you?
Right.
And
Come.
just to put this out there was not a dig at anybody that has an STI or positive any type of way. There's not a dig at nobody because my husband is positive. Okay?
Okay.
Just put that out there.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Nothing wrong with being positive. Everyone gets
Yeah.
an STD, STI.
I just want to make sure,
That's
sometimes people
right.
say certain stuff and they'll twist it, and that ain't what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, no, yeah, we're
Because you
not.
can. We are grown adults. We have sex. We need to.
Who have done grown things and
Yes.
have gotten
Hmm.
grown things.
So you have
Yes.
to take care of things in an adult way.
You do.
Yes, we
Use
do.
your
Hmm.
HCA, your health benefits.
Okay.
Go
And
to the
that
doctor and get
FSA.
take care of it,
Yes,
and
the
and be
HSA and the
done.
FSA,
There you
yes.
go.
Yes,
Yes.
There you go.
use all of your
Hmm.
benefits. It's okay.
Hmm.
Every
We're
single
adults.
And
one.
get
It's
that shot
get
and
your
think
shot,
about your life
take your
after that.
pills,
Hmm.
and get regular. And
Yes,
if you're
Lord.
on prep, you will be doing this all the time anyway. So there's
Hmm.
that.
Daniel,
Well,
did you
you
have
can
Hmm.
any?
have the
Oh,
injections.
yeah,
Well,
right.
that's
Okay.
true.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Daniel, did you
Uh,
have you had any
so
backlash?
not necessarily backlash, but there was almost an altercation. Uh,
Wow.
so Jeff, I told you about my brother who did a podcast not too long ago. I'm not
Yes.
going to say his name because I don't need people knowing or trying to make an issue there between us being related and our different lifestyles. But he found out about my page and he decided that he was just going to go tell our parents. And I woke up like 7 o'clock in the morning. If there's anything I can tell you about me, it's don't wake me up to a paragraph of you telling me about myself because I'm gonna act up. The cancer will come out real fast, so there's no filter when I first wake up. um, but yeah, I woke up. My dad sent me a text message, and he was like, "What the hell is this?" And he sent me all these screenshots, and I was ready to go off on him. And he was like, "Wait, calm down." He was like, "I'm not mad. I'm just really trying to figure out what's going on, you know." And my mom sent me a text message praying, and I was like, "Oh, I know what this is." I was like, "There's only one person who could have told y'all, and that's the only reason you both would be messaging me 6:30 in the morning." But I got them both on the phone at the same time, since clearly they were up. And my dad was laughing. He was like, "You got over 50,000 followers, and all you had to do was be naked." My mom,
I'm about okay. Now,
he was like,
what
"That's
do I need to do next? Yeah.
right." My mom was like, she's like, "Child, I ain't even bothered by it." She's like, "Your daddy got some tapes out here." And I was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "It must run in the
Oh, ho,
family." And she was
ho.
like, "That's not funny."
Uh-oh.
So, if anything, it actually turned out to be more of an issue for him than me. My parents were pretty supportive of it all. They know about it. My uncles know about it.
That's
My
good.
brothers and sisters know. Like, at this point, you know what I mean, y'all ain't got the money to help me pay for my life, so don't ask me about how I make
Okay.
Right, right.
it.
Does it ever come up like at functions like, hey, how you doing? This is Daniel. This is Corday. Now let me show you this real quick. Cause see, he does, and yeah, like does it ever come up like that?
uh,
Eh,
one,
not
I'm a
not yeah,
Cancer.
not with like my close friends or people that I'm close to.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
one, I'm a Cancer. Two, I was like a born crash out, and three, I'm a veteran. Like they don't take chances. Like pissing me off.
Mm-hmm.
They just be like, "Nope, we're gonna
Okay.
behave. Daniel is here. Everyone act normal."
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It.
I'm glad that y'all seem to have turned these into positive experiences because
Yeah,
so many
absolutely.
times we hear people talk about how they landed into the adult content creation world by negative things. Something
Mm-hmm.
happened, or
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
you must have couldn't do this, you couldn't do that, and so now you're doing this. And so I'm glad that we're able to have this conversation and make sure that in your situations is that's not the story.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. That means there's hope, that there are people out there that don't judge in that way. And I never would have thought that. I definitely would have thought that, at least parents would have felt a type of way about it. But to hear that your parents were actually really supportive, is
Mhm.
very aspirational, I think, for a lot of people, even people who don't do content, whose parents just
Mm.
don't agree with their lifestyle. I think that
Mhm.
it's very aspirational to hear that there are people out there who can accept that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So, since you both have had positive experiences when it came to the reaction and support of your OnlyFans and adult content creation, if you were to start over again today, is there anything that you would do differently about starting a journey into this field?
I would have waited before I started doing collabs. I would have built up more momentum because I feel like I could have capitalized and made way more money had I not
Okay.
started putting out collabs first, like I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I think if
Daniel?
the smallest thing that I would change is probably, and this is probably just like from a business point of thinking about it, but I probably would have hid my face in the beginning. I think you get a
That too.
lot more attention when there's mystery and people don't know who you are. For
Mm,
Hmm.
instance, someone just started making
Hmm.
content with
interesting.
me, and he's only had his page for maybe like a month. He just decided to make a page on X, and in that month, he's already hit like 5,000 followers, and that's like pretty fast. Like to just be starting out and there's nothing about you beforehand. Uh, so
Hmm.
I was like, a lot of people, like I think about some other popular content creators in the past who either didn't show their face or didn't show anything
Yeah.
sexual for a long period of time. And then out of nowhere, they just popped out with OnlyFans and they
Hmm.
just blew up out of nowhere.
I feel like I definitely would have took that route. So no face,
Mm-hmm.
no
Waited on the
collab,
collabs.
nothing
Hmm.
like really
Mm-hmm.
sexual for real. Maybe just like print stuff like that for the first part. And
Hmm.
I probably would have straight baited. I would have pretended to be straight because I feel like they make the
Mm.
most money.
Okay.
When you go from
Okay.
straight to gay, you make a lot
Hmm.
of money.
Yeah, because I think it's that whole fantasy of, ooh,
Yeah.
I can turn
Yeah.
him out, or he say he's straight.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Let me see. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
it only takes
That's
so
good,
long
Blaze,
before the
because that
straight
kind of
start showing ass and hole.
Let me.
right.
Well, most of the time they don't be straights. They pretending.
Hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
They're acting.
I'm not gonna name any names, but mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we could name names
We
if
could.
we
Right.
were provoked. So try it. Yeah. What do you wish that people understood about adult content creators that they would usually get wrong?
They were human. We're human beings just like
Hmm.
everybody else. Like a lot of times, I'll see on Twitter where people start these think pieces about content creators thinking they're celebrities. I've never thought I was a celebrity. I always thought I was just a regular, everyday human being. And sometimes other people had to tell me, well, you're daddy decent. You got this, you got that. I don't ever look at it like that. I'm just a human, just like you are. I bleed the same way you bleed. I cry when I'm upset. I get angry. I get mad. I have my happy moments. I enjoy being with family and friends, just like the next normal person is. People have to understand that content creators are not objects. We're human, just like you.
Mm-hmm. If anything, I
Awesome.
would probably say no one cares. Like at the end of the day, if you want to make content, just go make it. No one is that involved in your life that they about to go try and shut down everything you about and your job and your life and everything's gonna end. Even if, like I said, starting off without showing no face, if it's been in the back of your head to go do it, just go do it. Cause look, I worked for I had a whole government job. I'll leave it at that. And no one cared. People were like, oh, I can't do this because of my tattoos. I can't do this because, I have easily identifiable marks. No one, if they looking at it in the first place, if they know who you are, they there for a reason. And it's not to fire
Mm.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You said I work for a hole. I was about to say, oh, okay, yeah, you work for a hole. I'm sure. Yeah. A few
I work for some
holes. Yeah.
holes.
Yeah,
Works for
some
some
holes.
holes
Exactly.
and his own hole.
Several many
Mhm.
holes. Yeah, there you go.
All the holes. The hole
Yeah, okay.
whisperer. That might be my new username.
Okay. All right, so we're getting ready to wrap it up, but one last question. So if you could control one narrative about adult content creators, what would you want us regular folks to understand?
For me, the one narrative is not all content creators are escorts.
Okay.
We don't all go out there and just sleep with everybody and get paid to have sex and be prostitutes. All of us ain't doing it. Ain't nothing wrong with it if that's the way that you make your money go forward. There's nothing wrong with it, but some of us don't do that. We just like to be. We like to give you the fantasy on screen, and when we're off screen, that's it.
Yeah, those are two
Um,
different worlds. I think they
Yeah,
can
yeah.
cross lines, but yeah, I think those are
They cross
two
lines a lot out
different.
here. Most of the content creators that I know have crossed those lines a lot, and I'm not judging them.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Sex work is work.
Get your money, yes.
um,
Daniel, what about you? What would you
I'd probably
change?
say, like despite all the body positivity and the confidence you see on the internet, we get nervous too. We just regular people. You don't have to jump in there with this hypersexual energy to try and have a conversation with us and think that's like the route to go. It's okay to get to know the person before you try and get in their pants.
Mm-hmm.
That's real because I mean it's like it's like with me or anyone else. I'd want to at least hey, buy me a drink first.
Right.
Know what my favorite color
Yeah.
is? My favorite Pokemon.
Or
Something,
some cheese
Right.
sticks,
Something.
something.
spinach dip, something
Or
like
look,
that.
or at least if you're gonna message us, at least let the first message be, "Hey, how you doing?"
Right.
Not a
Hey,
picture of your
Yeah.
asshole.
right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Talking about high ass. Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Exactly.
No,
Like, wait,
yeah.
what?
Okay. Exactly. So besides the projects that normally come up in the projects that you do, what other projects do you all have coming up?
So I am an actor.
Okay.
I start production for a new film. I'm actually trying to learn the script now,
Okay.
called The
Nice.
Rose Room. Outside of that, I am a co-host for Culture Club, which is a podcast. You can catch us every Saturday. We just converted back over to YouTube from the ACTV network. They got some stuff going on over there. They're figuring it out. But yeah, that's what I'm working on right now.
All right.
um,
Daniel, you got anything?
for me, I don't really have any major projects that I'm working on, but my biggest thing I'm kind of working through right now is still kind of like this journey of like self rediscovery. Like a lot of things have changed for me over the past few months. So I'm trying to make changes that match that energy. So I plan to do a lot more traveling this year and actually getting to see more of the world versus just kind of staying in this corner. It's kind of hard to get away from Atlanta when it's like all the gays come here, all the action happens here. There's no real reason to
That's
go
right.
anywhere
That's
else,
right.
know.
That's right.
But it's like
Because
at the
yeah, just
same
sit
time,
back and wait. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Okay.
MLK weekend was crazy.
I'm
Let
sure
me
it
but
tell
was
you,
I
because
know it was.
I did not rest MLK weekend. The whole and the pole is tired.
Okay. There it is,
okay,
right.
the whole and the
The whole
whole.
and the pole was tired, yeah.
Tired.
And MLK weekend is a regular Tuesday in Atlanta. So
For some people.
For some
for
people,
for a lot of folk, yeah.
I do
We know
think
why you're going down there.
I feel like MLK and
right.
and Labor Day
And Labor Day, that's it.
really kick it up a notch.
Mm-hmm.
that Monday off, the Monday off holidays, you got to watch out.
Child, I guarantee you that none of the punks that came out here went to go visit none of the MLK
Mm-mm.
museums
Of
or
course
none of
not.
that.
Of
Ain't
course
did a
not.
service.
Ain't
Mm-mm.
went to no type of service.
No, yeah, they went. Yeah, they went to go get serviced. They
And
came to
I
get
was
Be
happy
service.
to
so
service
busy
a
There you
lot of
go.
here.
them
See,
that
there you
came.
go. Right.
Thank
There you
you.
go.
It'd be so
Right.
busy here when someone
Got
tell
some
you
got
they
some
coming for
got some
Pride, you
real
have
good
to ask
content
which
coming out.
one.
Okay. Not
Have
real good
a
content with the
thousand Pride
cheese.
events.
Ding. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I know, Corday, you mentioned this at the start or earlier in the podcast where we could find your content, but could you repeat that for us again? And then Daniel, could you follow up after him where we can find your stuff?
Yes, so you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Both will have the same handle, which is Just Corday, and it's JustCordae. It'll be on the screen somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can also follow me if you're nasty on X, Twitter, and that's Daddy Decent, Daddy with an I.
Mr.
Mhm.
Corday, if you're nasty. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And, for me, it's DBear the Gamer, both on X and on OnlyFans. You can find me in both places. Uh, if you're searching specifically by like the @ it'll say DBear the G.
Okay, and we'll have that on the screen, of course.
Actually, I just realized who you were, Daniel, and I think I too object off to some of your work. Great job.
Oh, that is so nice. Look at
at
Just
that.
Draws bringing
Bringing
people together. Bringing people together.
Thank you. Oh my God.
That's why we're here. We're here to service the community.
Not us doing the celebrity
man.
fan out.
We're
like
doing
Wendy
the celebrity
Williams.
fan out. That's right. Yeah. How you
I
doing?
told you,
How you doing?
people
Okay.
don't recognize me until I take my
See,
glasses
I didn't
off. It was the
I
DBear
didn't
the
catch
G
the
that
screen
got
name
you.
earlier when you first said it, but when you just said it, I was like, I've checked off to that before. Okay. Okay,
Look at
cool.
That
that.
is so awesome.
Small worlds.
It's so
Small
awesome.
world.
It ain't that small.
No, not
In the
small.
words of-
Yeah, not small.
It ain't that small.
That's not.
No.
Yeah.
In the words of one of
Big
my
world.
friends, my embarrassment.
Yeah. Big people. Little world.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. Darius, do you have anything else? A final thought?
I do
Okay.
not. Thank you
All
all for
right.
being here. Definitely.
Yes. Thanks,
Thank
guys,
you.
for coming up on our
This has
show.
been
Appreciate it. Awesome.
Yes.
All right, so this journey only applies to our guests and their experiences tonight. So there are thousands of content creators, and everyone's story is not going to be the same or have the same
Mhm.
type of journey or any type of negativity associated with it just because they've got into the adult content world. You may have seen or heard parallels to your own life or these experiences, and if that resonates, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. We hope that you still were able to get something out of this episode tonight, learn something you may have not known or thought about before, because sex work is work. So let's not act like we ain't never watched any type of this content before, be it from an old ass, raggedy, beat up VHS or sticky and greasy, scratched up DVD.
Amen.
We are sexual beings. And we need to recognize and accept that there's nothing wrong with that. We all have sex. We've taken, sent, received, and saved nudes. Some of us have even recorded ourselves. And we may have only sent it to ourselves or saved it for our own personal spank bank, but that's okay. We all kind of create content in some types of way. So some people are just able to monetize it. So hopefully this conversation has provided some insight for you and shed some light on these types of stories and these types of individuals, because after the content is made, edited, and published, these are real people with real emotions and real feelings and have real lives. So thanks, Daniel, and thanks, Corday, for your time with us on JustDrawz. That's a wrap. That is a wrap for this show.
Yay.
So we hope you felt the love and laughed a little bit and learned something new.
Now, remember, the conversation doesn't stop here. We want you to follow us individually on social media and collectively as well at JustDrawz, and let us know your thoughts, share your stories, but don't only come in and say, hey, let me see that ass, let me see this dick.
Until then, just be bold, just be beautiful, and most importantly, be in Atlanta next MLK weekend,
or Labor Day or next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Yeah.
Yes. We never close.
And we will catch y'all next time.
All right, peace.
Make sure you subscribe and share the show, because the algorithm only listens when you all make noise.
Follow us on social media, tap in with the community, and keep the conversation going.
We look forward to seeing you
and hearing from you. Peace.